Good morning. Please silence your cell phones. And starting the regular meeting on July 13th, with Township of Frontenac Islands at 10:30. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as the gathering place of the first peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the indigenous peoples who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of Frontenac Islands is committed to working with indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? Seeing none. We start off today with a wonderful presentation. 50 years of service recognition for our Wolf Island Fire Chief, Tim Hawkins, as well as firefighter Glenn Altman. I have our chief and fireman to come to the up, please. Don't trip on anyone. There's not many municipalities that would have two people, certain community, 50. Very impressive. Audience. If you could also move to the back where most of your members are to have another set of pictures, and we'll take a minute or two for that. Madam Mayor, if I may, I'm for moments, we have something else. Smile, Dad.
I remember at the speeches in the program. At the speech. Maybe somebody would say that. I'd just like to say it's been a privilege to work with Glenn, all my fellow firefighters. Everybody's been just such a great bunch. We've had a lot of good times and a lot of sad times. But thank you very much, everyone, and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sherry's island.
It's a good time for that. He's it's 49 is the plan.
Okay, now if I can call the meeting back to order here, please.
You don't need it.
Okay, I'm going to also provide a bit of an update, and it's a sad update. Kathy Hart, who is the wife of one of our employees on Howe Island, who works at our township ferry and recycling, passed away suddenly last night. I don't know arrangements to be arranged yet. Deepest condolences to the Hart family and also the wife. Meeting is back in order. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, we'll move on to Frontenac Municipal Service Corporation. Justin Bromberg, Chief Executive Officer, and is going to provide Frontenac Island shareholder updates. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members of council. Thank you for having me here this morning. My name is Justin Bromberg, the CEO of Frontenac Municipal Services. I'm here to provide an update, 2026 shareholder update. And before we begin, I'd like to briefly introduce FMS, just a refresher for anyone who may be less familiar with the organization. Frontenac Municipal Services is a publicly owned municipal service corporation responsible for the signings, management.
Just one sec. Could you, if you're going to continue to talk, could you do that outside? We have a meeting going on now. Thank you. Okay, we'll just wait until we get our CEO clerk back. Yes. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. For those that may be less familiar with Frontenac Services, it's a publicly owned service corporation responsible for the planning, management, and future operation of communal water and wastewater systems across Frontenac County. Frontenac Islands, along with the other 3 townships and the county, are shareholders of the corporation. Last year, my colleague Tyler Lalonde, who's our district coordinator, was here presenting to your council. Presentation focused largely as an introduction to FMS, who we are, why we were created, and the opportunities that communal servicing may create for rural communities. This year, we're shifting gears, and we wanted to provide a more concrete update on the work completed over the last 12 months, where we're focusing our efforts and where we see opportunities moving forward. We'll also spend a few minutes discussing opportunities that may be relevant to Frontenac Islands, including, for example, the Marysville expansion area and the role that FMS can play in supporting future communal servicing discussions. So this morning, I'll provide an overview of the progress that FMS has made over the last year, some of our current technical and governance work, provincial engagement and advocacy efforts, some of the partnerships and outreach activities that we've undertaken, and finally, some opportunities that may be relevant to Frontenac Islands and where we see FMS heading next. Of course, there is a lot happening. While much of this work occurs behind the scenes, so to speak, we think it is important to demonstrate how the organization continues to mature and position itself for long-term success. So some of the key activities that have taken place in the last 12 months. FMS has continued transitioning from its organizational setup into more implementation readiness. We've advanced significant governance work through utility bylaws and with the assistance of our technical support committee. We've continued developing technical guidance, life cycle planning, developer design guidelines, financial modeling, and risk management tools that will all support future communal systems. We've also expanded our engagement with the province of Ontario, strengthened our partnership with industry and developers, and increased awareness of communal servicing through conferences, presentations, and stakeholder outreach. It is also worth mentioning that other municipalities, neighboring municipalities to Frontenac have also developed and generated an increased awareness and interest in what Frontenac is doing, and we're fielding a lot more inquiries from neighboring municipalities in whether it be Louise and Grenville, Landmark, Northumberland. Just curious about what we're doing, and of course, the province as a whole has taken a greater interest in municipal service corporations, and the province is also engaging closer with us on all of the work and time that has been put into creating Frontenac Municipal Services. So collectively, this work is helping establish the long-term frameworks that would be needed before communal systems can move from concept towards implementation. Provincial engagement has become an increasingly important part of our work, as has always been the case. And I'm pleased to be joined, not specifically for this presentation, but in the room by Joe Gallivan, the County Planning and Economic Development Director, who was involved in the creation of Frontenac Municipal Services and the work that's been put into this spanning more than a decade. And so as Joe would be very familiar, and perhaps yourselves, these discussions with the province of Ontario, specifically the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks and Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, have been ongoing for several years now. But I would say in the last few months, they have taken on a new role, where, as I mentioned, the province is growingly interested with every passing month in the work that FMS is doing. The model that it's putting together really pioneering in many respects, not only the implementation of communal services for water and wastewater in rural Ontario and rural municipalities, but also the creation of a municipal service corporation involving the 4 townships and the county. So having that collective buy-in and partnership from all of the municipalities in the region is quite unique, and is a model that currently does not exist elsewhere in Ontario. Furthermore, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing approved the passage of Bill 98 earlier this year. Not only has FMS participated in consultations and input related to Bill 98, but that bill specifically makes reference to municipal service corporations and communal services as a means to increasing sustainable housing development in rural communities. So what we are seeing overall is growing recognition that rural Ontario does require additional servicing options to support housing while maintaining those strong environmental protections. And that is precisely what FMS is here to do. So we'll continue participating in those conversations and sharing the practical experience we're doing here in Frontenac County. In fact, it is also worth noting that just the other day we had the visit of 2 provincial ministers and a federal minister coming to visit the site in Verona that is about to commence groundbreaking in its development. That will be the first site to be supported on the servicing side by FMS. That's a project that the Township of South Frontenac has undertaken for quite a few years now. And so we visited that site, and we also visited Charlotte Lake, which is in addition to Marysville, one of the sites that FMS had identified early on as having potential for communal services. So the reason I mention this is because for ministers to come and visit Frontenac County all at the same time, and to for them in their own words to say that what Frontenac has done is not only quite innovative, but really acknowledging that we're a pioneer in many respects, was very rewarding and encouraging to hear. So we do Not that we weren't certain, but we now have that confirmation from those provincial representatives that in fact what we are doing is exactly the type of model that the province is looking to support, and we're planning to continue those discussions with those ministries and the ministers' offices in the coming weeks. On the theme of building relationships and awareness, that's been another major focus over the past year. So FMS is undertaking a communications and advocacy plan. We've created and launched the website for FMS, that's frontneckns.ca, and expanded our engagement with municipalities, developers, industry organizations, and provincial partners. We had the pleasure of presenting at a few provincial conferences that we've been invited to speak at, including housing discussions and continued work with home builder associations across Eastern Ontario. All of these activities help position Frontenac County as a leader in communal servicing, while creating opportunities to share lessons learned and attract future partnerships. Of course, we're only one small piece of the puzzle. There is also the developer attraction and developer awareness piece that we do need those developers to build those future housing units in our communities, and we do want to make sure that we are on their radar when they're thinking about Frontenac. So, of course, successful communal servicing depends on that collaboration between the utility, between municipalities, regulators, operators, consultants, and developers. So some local context, and while Frontenac Islands does not currently have a communal servicing project underway, and as I mentioned, Verona is going to be the first. We do believe there is significant long-term potential for the islands, as well as the rest of Frontenac County. The Marysville expansion area shown here represents but one example where communal servicing could help support future growth while respecting the existing character of the community, and that's something we're very strong on. We had the same conversation in Charlotte Lake on Friday about respecting, and really the purpose here. FMS and the MSC and the shareholder municipalities are firm believers that we're not looking to do large scale development that would be out of touch or out of character with the existing nature and characteristic of our communities. In fact, we want to complement and seamlessly integrate. So we're not looking at developing large subdivisions. The project in Verona, for context, is 92 units. The one in Charlotte Lake could be between 25 and 40. And so these are not large scale developments by any means, but very much the type of housing where we see those needs, but also wanting to maintain the existing characteristics of those communities. So we have participated in preliminary discussions regarding interest and servicing considerations on Wolf Island. One of the key messages we'd like to share with council today is the value of early engagement. By involving FMS early in project discussions, municipalities and project proponents can better understand servicing options before significant planning and design work occurs. We do have the support of our technical support committee, and they're a valuable asset to us in helping a lot with those servicing discussions. We're also working occasionally with a consultant, which is Clearfield Waterworks, that currently operates systems across Ontario and has been a valuable partner in helping us navigate a lot of these more technical related discussions. So whether communal servicing ultimately proves appropriate or not, those early conversations help support informed decision making and identify opportunities before they can become constraints. Looking ahead, we'll continue advancing the governance, operational, and financial frameworks needed to support servicing options across Frontenac County. We'll continue engaging with ministries and industry as conversations around communal servicing and rural housing continue to evolve, much in a positive way. As that Verona project advances towards implementation, it will provide us valuable operational experience that will help inform future projects across all of our shareholder municipalities. We're also encouraged by the progress being made on the Charlotte Lake redevelopment, which represents another opportunity to apply the FMS model. And for Frontenac Islands, we're going to continue supporting municipalities and proponents through those early discussions and the municipality itself as future opportunities emerge, including within the Marysville expansion area wherever appropriate. Our role is not to lead development, but to provide servicing expertise early in the planning process and help evaluate whether communal servicing may be an appropriate solution. Much of this work, of course, is ambitious in the sense that we're pioneering many new things, and we're putting a lot of those pieces together because a lot of those frameworks do not currently exist. So these things do take time, but we do believe the foundation being built today will create long-term housing and economic development opportunities across the entire county including the islands, and we look forward to continuing that work with all of our shareholder municipalities. So thank you for your continued support. We do appreciate Frontenac Island's ongoing participation as a shareholder municipality. We look forward to continuing to work together as opportunities arise. I'd be happy to take any comments or questions that you have for me this morning.
Councillor Jablonski,
Thanks, Heather. I'm actually on this council, so I'm up to date. Thanks, Justin.
Councillor Holton,
No, I did great overview of it, and I hope you guys keep moving ahead. Thank you.
Councillor Saunders,
Thank you, Vendor. As in my role as warden for the county, I had the opportunity to participate in these presentations on Friday. And they were done remarkably well. Hats off to you, your team, Mayor Vanderwall, Mayor Smith, in terms of all the stuff they put together. To see that those two ministers that excited and engaged was very rewarding. The next challenge will be funding at the end of the 5-year period, right?
Correct.
So that'll be a discussion for the next council here. Do you have a projection on, probably forgotten, when do we think the Verona project will be shovels in the ground kind of thing?
So through you, Madam Mayor, thank you for the question. They are anticipating, they're hoping to break ground later this year.
Okay.
And servicing could begin perhaps as soon as late 2027, perhaps early in 2028. We do recognize, and just to comment on your point, is the financial viability of the organization is certainly top of mind. As more projects come online, that those projects and those servicing opportunities are necessary for the organization to remain financially viable. So Frontenac Municipal Services, as in its future form as the utility, which would be responsible for the operation and maintenance of those systems, would generate some revenues through user fees for the water and wastewater charges on those future developments. Now, of course, the more systems that come online, the more healthy the organization and the utilities finances will be. In the interim, we are also exploring options, recognizing that the shareholder municipalities have made a generous financial contribution for the first 5 years of FMS's inception. It's for that reason that we're exploring those provincial and federal partnerships to assist with some operational funding, in addition to infrastructure and capital funding, to allow us to stretch that timeline further, to allow us to bring more systems online, while respecting the ratepayers' capacity to pay and continue funding FMS. So we do want to, one of our priorities amongst others is to ensure that by the end of the initial 5-year period, that we do have a financial viability path forward that doesn't entirely rely on the shareholder municipalities for functionality, but rather we're exploring, in addition to those provincial and federal funding opportunities, we're exploring other smaller funding programs that are helping with planning studies, operational studies, some of the legal and governance considerations that we've had. We've had the fortune of having partnerships with the Eastern Ontario Regional Network. So there are constantly some various options that we're looking at, which are helping us get through these early stages.
So then, just to follow up, so for the next council, when they're faced with a decision around emergency expansion or continuing to fund MSC, we'll have practical experience from Verona to understand where many of these questions have been answered or whatever.
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct, yes. And in fact, we're conducting a lot of those studies right now about what the rates will look like, and that's some of the work that's actually taking place at the moment with Third and our technical support teams.
Thank you.
okay, Councillor Arkley,
So at this point, like water, the cost of water to somebody's house, we have no idea a price?
We don't through you, Madam Mayor, we don't have the rates determined yet, and recognizing that the rate structures and may vary depending on the landscape. For example, a project in Marysville, and depending on the system and the size of the development, could look very different from the one in Verona as compared to the one in Charlotte Lake, or even in North Frontenac. And so one of the exercises that we're undertaking is an analysis, a site-specific analysis, where we're going to explore several sites, and at least one in each of the 4 shareholder municipalities, to have a better idea of what the operating costs would be for both water and wastewater in each of those jurisdictions. And then we'll conduct a rate analysis to help us establish whether that be a fixed rate across all of Frontenac County or a fixed portion of the rate along with a hybrid portion for allowing for some fluctuations and considerations depending on the water quality and the discharge options for the wastewater. So there are many factors to consider, and that is one of the greater challenges that we have given the variance in the landscape from North Frontenac south towards the islands. But we are what is top of mind is that we want to make sure that those rates remain reasonable and in certainly comparatively with neighboring municipalities. So we're not looking, we do understand the importance and the critical nature of having a rate that is a, for lack of a better word, a reasonable rate that respects ratepayers' capacity to pay, whether that be on a monthly or a quarterly basis. And so that's part of that costing analysis that we're undertaking with Clearfield Waterworks as we move through 2026. But it's certainly top of mind. We just don't have those numbers as of yet.
And again, like we're thinking, how many units would be back there that they would be putting here? Like you said, there's 25 in the one area and 90 in Verona. And here we're thinking how many? Six.
The units would be mixed, we don't know what they would be, but potentially population of 350 people.
So you're gonna have 350 people to a boat that's not handling what we got in employees. And
That's a long way off.
I'm just thinking of the future though. Cause as it is, like, we don't even know what the cost of the water is gonna be or the cost of the sewer. And I listen to the people in Gananoque and they're curious. Their water bills are nuts. Like
Okay.
it's a mortgage payment, so I just,
Councillor Ackley, any specific questions?
that was specific question is I just need an answer on how much
Cost.
water and sewer would cost and
He doesn't know.
we have no idea, so.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. All right, the ministers that you talked about, two provincial and one federal, with the Minister of Infrastructure, Municipal Affairs.
So the Madam Mayor, thank you. It's the two provincial ministries were the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, or as we say, the acronym MECP. And the other ministry that was there was Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, or MNH. And the federal, it was the Federal Parliamentary Secretary of Housing that was there, MP Jennifer McKelvey. So she represents the federal Ministry of Housing as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We also had NPP John Jordan was present, as well as an MP who is the Shadow Minister of Housing, Scott Aitchison. So five provincial and federal representatives in all.
Okay, thank you very much. Just going back to the point that Councillor Ackley was actually making about our ferry service and that's exactly why this council has passed the motion to put on hold the secondary plan for the expansion. That being said, the concerns of water and septic and that on this island are significant, regardless of whether there is a future development. So we're going to be moving down the road for a strategic plan is the hope for the next council, since we have an outdated strategic plan by a decade. And with that, I hope that the community does consider and that with the existing community here, because we have hotel, restaurants, schools, churches, large impact in that, and we are completely dependent on private contractors to bring over large quantities of potable water and buy small bottles and things of that nature, but it's significant, and the pump outs also have to be off island. And a considerable amount of time has been spent over the past 3.5 years, making sure that it not only continues, but at a reasonable rate, and that.
Yes.
So don't consider that it's just based on the Marysville secondary plan would be my view of it. Consider the community here that we may, in the next council, on that step forward a lot quicker. And with that, for the needs of the community, because if we lose our septic pump outs and water, we're not going to do well. Okay, so I want you to be aware, we're unique in the isolation, more so than North, Central, or South Front.
Sure.
Okay.
If I may,
Sure.
just in response. That, or would you like to?
No, no, I'm looking at you.
And thank you for that complimentary information. I think that is equally important. We've heard that also in other communities, that many of, the majority of all of the county is on septic and well. And some of those systems have been in place for decades and are approaching end of life. And so that is certainly something that we've thought of as as part of our planning work, is that these services could not only may not only be applicable to future developments, but to existing communities as well, or to help them eventually replace some of the existing water and wastewater infrastructure that's currently in place. And other examples have come up. So this certainly this is by no means an exclusive opportunity for new developments, but it also could be something that's applicable to existing communities and community infrastructure as well, and within existing community boundaries. And the nice part of these systems is that they are all scalable, so they can be built and expanded rather than because they are not as invasive or as and as costly as traditional municipal infrastructure, where it could be as simple as adding additional units. The new terrace systems, as one example, comes in the form of those shipping size containers, and they add so you have that scalability factor where you can add additional units to support other projects or other sections of the community as need be. So we'll certainly keep that in mind, and we're in constant contact with the county's planning department and looking at those opportunities and options and needs. And so certainly happy to continue that conversation with our council following the election.
Okay, thank you on that, because we are in a unique situation given our transportation impact and complete dependency on private contractors who don't need to come here if it's not really viable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Council Jablonski, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that council thank Justin Bromberg, Chief Executive Officer of the Frontenac Municipal Services Corporation, for his presentation regarding Frontenac Islands 2026 shareholder update.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Now, we have Dr. Terry Lynn Brennan of the Lodgepole Arts Alliance regarding the Art of Visiting Indigenous Presentation Gathering and request for in-kind and funding support for the event. Wow.
Tego Fuego, Fuego. Walkwood and Brad, Ontario, and Brennan Nunes. Ganika Hagas, Blu-ray, British and Jordan, Domain Vest, you'll take on the 80 party. I was gonna jitter around, so hello. I just want to thank you for having me speak again to you folks. It's getting to be a regular occurrence now, and very happy to do so. We do have a slide projection that I will share with you. It's a short one. Live on Wolf Island, been here now 11 years, grew up down St. Lawrence. My family comes from Six Nations, and it's Six Nations, the Grand River in Brantford, Ontario, and moves to New York. Respectfully, and then Dublin, Ireland, and I come to Cat today. And so this is a short presentation, just again to share the success of last year's event. Have the clicker, so I'll just pass it along. So a little bit again about Lodgepole. We still are the only Indigenous arts service organization in the country that offers a presenters gathering of sorts where we invite Indigenous artists and artistic presenters, producers, venue holders, as well as a range of artistic Indigenous professionals to come to Wolf Island and be part of a 4-day networking opportunity, as well as showcasing diverse arts. And we showcase the range of arts. And through the last couple of years of the success of our products here, we have become nationally known, and we are growing in importance for Indigenous artists and artistry across the country. We have been now presenting at various events from coast to coast to coast. And this year at our Art of Visiting, we are actually looking to host the Collective of Indigenous Art Service Organizations for Canada at our event. So we will be having a range of Indigenous professionals, executive director level professionals that will also be visiting Wolf Island and mostly for the first time. A lot of it. Next slide. Last year, we doubled our numbers from the previous year in our first event. And we capped out on every bed available on Wolf Island for our events. And so we're hoping that maybe more B&Bs might open up, or people just might look to share their space. For our event, unfortunately, you never can count on the weather, so you don't know if their camping is gonna be working. But with that, we extended our money, economic development for the island significantly, as you can see over the numbers from 24, upwards of over $30,000 that we brought to the island, beyond the previous years. Again, we're growing in people getting to know more about us and excited to come to Wolf Island and visit Wolf Island. And we're excited to expand our program for this coming year. Next slide. And so with that, we are looking at the people that we've been partnering with over the last few years. We've been very successful financially with the Department of Heritage and the Ontario Arts Council, as well as various private funders and smaller organizations who have helped contribute to the overall growth of our organizational events. This year, we have already secured funding from the Kingston Arts Council to support an event on the mainland. And we've also secured significant funding from the Canada Council for the Arts to support, again, the increase of Indigenous artists and artistry that will be brought to Wolf Island. We are also looking to create a cabaret in alliance with the Francophone Center, French Cultural Francophone Center on the mainland, expanding our partnerships as well. Next slide, please. And so continuing to offer and keep those invites going and working together with a variety of different partners. Next slide. And so this year, we are indeed looking to maintain, if not try and expand maybe a little bit, just because we are looking for that national collective group to come here and to be part of the event this year. We're also expanding our treaty partner, our non-Indigenous workshop opportunities for folks who want to learn more about working with Indigenous artists and within the Indigenous arts sector, hosting Indigenous artists, and expanding your opportunities as well to get to know more Indigenous artistry from across the country. And that is all genres, of course. We are also, through our alliance with the Francophone Center, which we have a collaborator who has been contributing to the non-Indigenous components of the gathering, who's from Howe Island, actually. And so this year we are looking to collaborate with Howe Island and her presence there at her farm to do some lodgepole events as well and expand the opportunities of including both the islands in the work that we're doing, which is exciting. Everybody loves coming to the island for some reason. And it'll be hosted from Monday, October 5th to Thursday, October 8th. And next slide, please. With the annual Kispuenta dinner. Kispuenta is the two-row wampum. It is that inaugural dinner that basically brings all of the treaty partners and the Indigenous folks that are participating in our event together to enjoy a masterly crafted culinary meal, 3-course meal. We're going to be kind of jazzing it up a little bit this year with some artistry kind of interposed between the servings. And again, hosted by Hotel Wolf Island, where Brad and his team will be looking to work, as well as Mohawk Chef Leora and Lewis, as part of our team, and we're already working on a menu, so look for that very shortly. This particular night, and because of the quality that we are always offering, is an expensive night. And of course, all of you get invitations. Some of you have been coming very regularly, which is wonderful. And you're always all welcome to come. It is an opportunity to meet and greet. And certainly it's expanded to the other Indigenous nations across the region, from Tyendinaga to Akwesasne to Shark Lake, and the City of Kingston politicians as well. And yeah, next slide. And so I am here with my annual request for the support of being able to utilize the Wolf Island Community Center for our outdoor engagement, which is the beginning and the kickoff of our event. We use just the grass area. We actually don't use the ball diamond and don't use the arena. We just use the grass area to host some form of musical or dance event with our indigenous guests and contained fire. We would like to continue to do that because that certainly sets the tone, be on the land and be on this beautiful land together. And we are also looking to use this space. We offer yoga first thing in the morning for each of our days. It's public. We have people who come who don't come to our event necessarily, but they come and enjoy the yoga. 3 of our main coordinators of the full gathering are yogis. And so this is their way of also giving back to the community in a reciprocity manner of sharing a yoga experience each morning, as well as a contribution to the dinner. This, as I said in the previous slide, the dinner is a very expensive event. We want to continue to be able to do that dinner at quality that we offer it, both service as well as culinary skill. And so it is our ask that as a Cuscuenta dinner, the 2-row dinner, showing that relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples, that the Township Council helps contribute to that honoring and bringing guests from across the country to the islands in a good way. And yeah, being part and taking part of that meet and greet engagement. Y'all go ahead and have a good time.
Thank you very much. Questions, Councillor Javon?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Halton?
No questions, thank you.
Councillor Saunders?
Hey, Mayor, turn into more suggestions or thoughts, perhaps some questions. One is, I think there's still a belief, I think we saw this last year at County Council. This is a Wolf Island thing.
Right,
My suggestion to you would be to continue to educate people that it's a national event. That might help somewhat.
Yeah.
The other is, I'm wondering if your presentation might be more appropriate at budget time, because right now there's no money, as I understand, a budget for this. So asking for those, community, going to call it, for grants might be more appropriate at budget time. Just a thought.
and through you, Madam Mayor, I did do that last year at budget time and it was not successful. So,
Try.
yeah, as well. Thank you though, thank you.
Councillor Ackley?
No comment.
Okay,
Madam Mayor?
yeah.
Moved by, sorry, not Jen.
Thank you.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, seconded by Councillor Holton, that council thank Dr. Terry Lynn Brennan of Lodgepole Arts Alliance for her presentation.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
Yeah, I'll go, I think you are.
Thank you. Now, we have a presentation from the Ad hoc Ferry and Emergency Medical Services Advisory Committee regarding delegation packages for delegations at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario annual conference going to be held August the 16th to the 19th. I believe there was an additional package that had been unfortunately missed, and everybody has a copy of that as well. There are 6 different ministries that have been applied to, so we'll invite Kimberly Thomas.
Thank you. Thanks for having us and giving us the opportunity to work with you. A lot of work's been done and a lot of the people involved, so thank you for that. So I'm here today just to ask that that everyone has received the the packages that we sent out to the delegation presentations that if we get accepted to meet with anybody at Emo in August, we're prepared for. And I just wanted to, as we said in previous council meetings, get the council's approval on those packages. When we first came in, we asked for your permission to apply, to treat them, and we explained that we would show you the packages so that you could make a decision as to whether they were appropriate to be presented to the ministries or minister of ruling. That we can meet at in. I don't know if there's any questions. I think there was a lot of material sent out, so if there's no questions, I think we would assume that they would be approved as they were presented.
Okay. Councillor Jablonski, any question?
No, thanks, man. No questions. Good luck.
Thank you. Councillor Halton?
No questions. I've seen them. I've done a lot of work. Thank you and good luck.
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, congratulations on the work. This is an enormous amount of work. I can't imagine how many hours you put into it. Thoughts. So this doesn't mean I want you to change anything, just some thoughts. There's an overriding theme through all of them about the two ferry requests, right? That may, in some ways, it may affect negatively your approach. Just a thought. You might want to be prepared for that if it comes up during the presentations. For Ministry of Health, I thought you should really focus on the ROI. The ROI, or
Morality Ontario Index.
yes. The redesignation of Wolf Island for our rating, which will allow us, as nurse practitioner, several times, increase funding for nurse practitioners that are visual out there. That's one I think they could really deal with, and we've had all kinds of stumbling blocks on that one. So if you can get from the minister and raise that question, that'd be one I would suggest you emphasize. And around, well, I'm gonna leave it there. You've got an enormous amount of work in front of you. I will also wish you good luck. Having had the opportunity to sit right in front of the Minister of Transportation and asked about our ferry situation and having referred that to staff and having heard nothing back, I would not have too high of expectations, but like I said, try, good luck.
Councillor Ackley?
Oh, again, a lot of work. I read through every page. You go at it hard. I wish you luck. I do. I wish you luck.
Maybe we should have a group prayer instead.
We need to have a united council, and
Yeah.
that will be a big help in that. So with that, we have a resolution that was proposed by the committee, and I believe Councillor Holton will be sponsoring it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Councillor Jablonski. Whereas the ferry service is a critical transportation link for our community, supporting residents, businesses, and emergency services. And whereas the province of Ontario is responsible for ensuring that the service is safe, reliable, and efficient. Therefore, be it resolved that council calls upon the province of Ontario to immediately implement a two ferry service model to ensure safe, reliable, and timely transportation of both passengers and vehicles. And further, that council directs that this resolution be forwarded to the Ontario Minister of Transportation, the Premier of Ontario, the local MPP and MP, and the leaders of all opposition parties. Be it resolved that council requests a timely and substantive response from the province outlining how these concerns will be addressed. And be it further resolved that council will continue to advocate through all channels until a solution is implemented that meets the needs of our community.
Okay. Open for discussion. Would you like to present any more about that, Councillor Holton?
No, this is what the committee asked for. I said to the committee at the start, I don't agree with some of the things, but I am here to support you and so I think that hopefully is representation of the people of the island and they would like to know what we're doing, so I don't think it will hurt. I would like everybody to support this.
Okay. Councillor Jablonski?
We've gone through this a couple of times in different scenarios, so again, I wish you really good luck. It seems to fall on deaf ears quite a bit, especially the EMS issue, what we fought quite a bit for it, and we felt we're getting places and it just fell flat, so. All I can say is, don't lose hope, You get some negative responses, that's all. Keep on with it.
Councillor Saunders?
Hey, Madam Mayor. The only thing that jumps out at me is it's the therefore we resolve clause. Immediately implement a two-ferry system. I think we all would agree that's not possible, so I don't know whether immediately is the right terminology. Or if we put in some sort of a time frame, like within 3 months or something. I just think, I know the intent, but it's not gonna happen immediately, so. Food for thought.
Okay, Councillor Arcwood?
I believe he's need something over here, so keep trying, and I'm in favor of it, trying to push forward, so he's gotta get something.
Okay, and I'm in full support of it, Matt, because we have a plethora of captains and crew in this area. So much so, we have multiple ferries as well as commercial boats and that, and tour boats, et cetera, and that, so the immediate aspect doesn't require them to even build a new ferry, it needs to staff it. And that is part of the responsibility of the MTO, so I have no problems with it. And that, so now I will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Go for it.
Carried. Thank you very much. Now, we're at the consent agenda. Is the adoption and receipt of the minutes of June the 1st council meeting,
As well as the information.
as well as the information items. Now, if you put it on the floor, I think we might pull something out.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ackley, seconded by Councillor Holton, that the June 1st, 2026 council meeting minutes be adopted as presented or amended. And that the information items be received and filed.
Okay. All those in favor of putting it on the floor? Carried. Any questions or any concerns? Councilor Devonaghy?
Give me 1 second, Mayor, it's one,
No worries.
actually, 3
I'll
more.
come back to you. I'll come back to you. Councilor Holton?
No question, thank you.
Councilor Saunders?
No, thank you.
Councilor Ackley?
No bias.
I'd be interested in the letter,
Sorry, Madam Mayor.
okay, a letter to council from Joanne and Joe Forsyth regarding the trailer bylaws.
Okay.
Councilor Devonaghy?
Oh, you asked me for before, no, I actually stepped up later on, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Right, so if you could speak to that letter.
Forgive me, Madam Mayor, let me just pull it up here for a moment.
Thank you.
So the letter that was submitted to all members of council, from Joanne Forsyth is with regard to the, East End 3-car ferry on Howe Island. And she's requesting that let me just see what I'm saying. We respectfully ask council not to allow the emotions and frustrations of the past 2 months to overshadow the long-term operational and safety considerations that led to the adoption of the bylaw number 19-2024, which is the bylaw that council passed to allow a vehicle passenger only on the East End 3-car ferry. She continues on, we believe the bylaw continues to serve an important purpose and should remain unchanged. That being said, Madam Mayor, there's no report on the council agenda today with regards to the 3-car ferry. We're still, Chief Quinn is still waiting expert opinion and report. back with regards to, what was presented at the June meeting, so.
Okay, thank you. The other one that's of note is the report from the police, from the Leeds OPP. And with that, because submissions will be going to the Solicitor General from the group, and that it's significant that her report has arrived in, so just to make note that there may be information that may be of value to them. Just to have it considered, because it has timelines, and I do know that we do have a letter from the Superintendent Basso, part of that delegation. Okay? Seeing nothing else, would you like to have a vote on this? All those in favor?
Sorry, Madam Mayor,
Sorry.
so the minutes were as presented, there was no amendments, correct?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're at the staff report, with the Village of Marysville zoning project. We're gonna have Mr. Gallo. Okay, wait a minute. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption, yes, sir.
Morning, Madam Mayor and members of council. I'm here to speak to our staff report regarding our proposed zoning project for the village of Marysville. We're asking you to endorse the work plan, we included in the report. And we're also recommending that we start the work. If you endorse it today, we'll start the work immediately, and I'll explain why in a moment. The zoning project will cover all the properties within the existing village of Marysville, as you've seen on the maps. And also the future expansion area. We want to make sure the zoning matches the official plan policies that were put in place almost 4 years ago. To implement the Marysville secondary plan. In a perfect world, in planning, you do the official plan, and then to implement, you do the zoning within a 2-year window, so we're a bit behind and we'd like to start now. This isn't rocket science, it's not gonna take a lot of work to put the zoning in place, but we feel it's important to get going on this. The zoning, in particular on Main Street, the commercial use part is outdated, it doesn't match what's on the ground, it never did. When it was first put in, and that complicates things for businesses. And really, this project is more about economic development than land use planning. As I've noted in the report, in the last page of our report, the economic development side of our department has been consistently working with Marysville businesses since last winter. Our staff have been having monthly meetings with businesses. One day, and also we have a summer intern. And that person, you may see the smart car every Wednesday in the village, that person's going around all the businesses, getting business updates. Then they leave in the afternoon ferry, they go over to the Kingston Tourism Office and give them all that new information. We're doing that every week. Also, a week ago, the intern and our GIS staff, one of our GIS staff, got in the county truck and put our 360-degree camera on the hood, drove through the entire village. To upload to Google Street View. And why did we do that? Because the last time that was done was 13 years ago. So the village, especially the Main Street, has changed a lot. And we want to reflect, if you're a visitor and you want to come to Marysville, we want people to see what's actually on the ground now. That's being uploaded right now. I suspect within 2 weeks, it'll all be up there. So I encourage you to take a look at that. The estimate to do this project in terms of our hours is somewhere between 100 and 130. And the reason I'm recommending we start this work now is we have a planning intern and she is here till the end of August and she's gonna start working on this right away. She'll be on the ground here, just double checking every property and make sure what we think is on the ground is on the ground. If you agreed to let us start the project now, it's my opinion that will save 25 to 30% of our hours. We'll put in at least 30 hours on this, maybe more. And that will have an impact on the budget or billing hours because we do not bill the hours put in by our planning students. your billing next year is probably gonna go down anyway, because if you remember the presentation I made earlier this year on our planning services. It was a very quiet year last year on Wolf Island, and it's a 3-year average of billing, so your numbers are probably gonna go down. But we'd like to reduce the cost of this project now, and that's why I'd like the summer student to start right away. The work plan is included in the report, so when it comes time for council to make a decision on the rezoning, none of that will happen until the new council in place, so public engagement and the public meeting and council decision won't happen until the spring of next year, if we get started now. So those are all my comments, Mayor, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Just curiosity, we'll talk about rezoning like Maryville proper at this point to start with, just the businesses on the main street.
No, the whole thing, and it's easy. As a planner, it's easy to do the zoning for the rest of the village. In fact, what the zoning is now may not change much at all because it reflects what's on the ground now, but we want to do the whole thing at once.
Sorry, one more question. Expected cost, if you had 100 hours, like what the rate?
Oh, it's in the report, so it's our average billing rate, which is about $132 an hour. So 100 to 120 hours, so I estimate between 13,000 and 16,000 of our time, but you can cut 20 to 30% of that cost if we start now with summer students working with me on this project.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Holton.
I think we need to move ahead with this right away, because the next council will probably update our official plans. This is a very important piece that needs to be done sooner than later, so if we can save a bit of money on it, I would think we need to go ahead.
And we've talked to the business, they're really supportive of this idea. So,
Councillor Saunders.
Hey, Mayor. Joe, first of all, thank you for with your economic development folks, pass that, thank you on. We do appreciate you being here on a regular basis. That has not always been the past, and I think business in the, in the village can certainly use that additional support and expertise. I'm in favor of moving ahead now. I know we're frustrated with the ferry, and I know that we're not gonna put a subdivision in, but with all the stuff that's going on, communal service, everything else, I think we've gotta keep preparing for the future. So I think we need to continue on, so.
also remember that the Warren's reception is gonna be held on Wolf Island, and that'll generate some business for the restaurant. Just a rumor,
Just a real
sorry.
Councillor Ackley.
Great work again, Joe.
Thank you.
But my only question is what if you come to somebody and there's on commercial or there's on something else and then you change it?
And that's why we need to have the public involved. We're gonna propose the zone change, but we're gonna let the public, give them lots of time. We'll redo the mapping and we'll describe everything. The other concern we have is we wanna make sure that the secondary plan puts a cap on building height on the waterfront properties to protect the views of the lake, and we wanna get that in place too.
That's a good point.
Also, we're gonna zone part of the water here, which you can do.
Yeah.
And we wanna do that to make sure that there's no unusual development proposals. That come forward that would interfere with the marine operation. I don't know. Some of you are old enough as me, if you remember. Kingston back in the 1990s, the Ramada Inn, I still call it Ramada Inn. They proposed something called a flotel. They were gonna extend, they wanted to put a floating hotel out into the marina.
Sweet.
Well, it was gonna really affect the marine operation, so. We don't wanna see, that's a good planning for your waterfront.
Could have been appeared for the bridge.
That would have been a good idea.
It sounds great. I just people don't want their property changed, that's all, without, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna have public involvement. That's what we need. That's what it should be all about. Excellent work, excellent work.
Thank you.
Okay. As you know, this council has voted to suspend any effort at the Marysville secondary plan. Because bringing more people, as was pointed out with the existing ferry service, is not in the best interest of the island, unfortunately. So I have no problem with having a zoning of the existing Marysville. But I believe we have already decided that there would be no more money put forward until we get the ferry sorted out. Towards the concept even of bringing more people over into the secondary plan. That was a decision that was made early on in this council, and unfortunately, ferry system has not improved at all.
If I can respond to that, so. The zoning is going to be is what you see is what you get. And if you have a concern about changing the zoning to include the expansion area. We're not intending to put zoning to promote development on that expansion area. We're gonna put a special development zone on there that basically is a flag for anyone who wants to build in there, that they have to come and consult with the township. But they won't be able to do anything, we're essentially gonna say, the existing uses that are there right now, which is field. Are permitted, anything else needs a zone change and an official plan amendment, so. It's not going to have any impact on the future development of the expansion area.
So how many hours would you allot towards the secondary development?
Well, that's part of this 100 to 130 hours, but that part is very simple. It's just one or two lines in the new zoning that says you can't build anything here.
So basically 1%, or
Not even that. It's 5 minutes of my time.
just so we're clear, because I can appreciate from the county perspective and economic development perspective and all that, but the perspective of this township council has been clear, and the community is still being strangled without any relief.
Yeah, I would estimate that more than half the time will be committed to making sure the zoning on Main Street is appropriate.
And the other half of the time would be,
Finishing doing the rest of the village, doing the water area I just described, and doing the open space zoning along the land you own on the water's edge right now.
thank you.
So,
Councillor Jablonski, you have another question?
Thank you. Just a question, Joe. We've talked about what we're gonna incur for costs in township. There's no other cost for the landowners that you'll be rezoned?
No,
They don't, no
No.
penalties, no nothing?
nothing,
So
no.
we flip the bill completely?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Mayor. To clarify, perhaps the point Councillor Ackley is making, so if there's a business there and we find out it's actually zoned as residential. They're not gonna get kicked off the property. The next step would be to have some an approved zoning. A rezoning of that property to make it consistent.
It's part of this project, to your point, if it's a commercial business right now, if it's zoned residential, we would change the zoning to commercial.
But if they're still living there as well,
Well, it depends where they're, if they're on the second floor, it would still be commercial. I mean, that's why we gotta do the on the ground field work.
because there are several homes
Yes,
that are
yes.
purely residential.
Even if they were rezoned commercial, just for argument's sake, it wouldn't mean the residential use becomes illegal. It's still a legal use, but it anticipates that in the future, over 20 years, maybe just the land use will change to commercial.
And if there's a change in taxation for commercial properties versus residential, it will.
The impact would assess it based on existing use.
Thank you very much. Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I have to put the motion on the floor. Moved by Councillor Halton, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that Council of the Township of Frontenac Islands endorse the work plan from planning staff to commence work on rezoning all properties in the village of Marysville to implement the Marysville secondary plan.
Okay, any further questions? All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at administrative report number AD 25-26, request to sever a portion of land from township property on Howe Island.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've just asked, Deputy Clerk to pull up the map here so everybody can take a look at. The report before council today, township staff received a request to sever a portion of lands from township property on Howe Island Drive. The land is located just up from the county operated ferry. And the land, so all of that land is township owned with the exception of the northwest corner of the property that's owned by the people on Pickett's Lane. The remainder of the big square is township property. The portion that is outlined in red and hashtag is the portion of the property that, the, adjacent or abutting landowner, Mr. Fleming has requested to purchase from the township and do a lot addition to his property. I have, talked with, the planning department. They don't feel, it is required for, the property owner at 27 North Shore Road. The current, acreage is already 2.5 acres. So he does not require it to meet the, requirements for acreage. It is therefore staff's recommendation to not sell that portion of the township property as at the time it was purchased for any kind of future development of expansion, whether it be a bridge or ferry system or whatever the case may be. So if members of council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Counselor Jablonski,
No questions, thank you.
Counselor Halton,
No, right.
Counselor Saunders,
Thank you, Mayor. Can you put that map up again? And that. I think Council Ackman will have to, I live right in,
Yeah,
I don't understand. The boundaries of that property.
like the lines through, there's a house on it?
There's an old building by, so this square here is all township property. This is a portion that this gentleman here is looking to purchase to add on to his property. And the township would retain the remainder.
Oh, who's the gentleman that wants to?
Peter Fleming at 27
Oh, Peter.
North Shore.
All right.
okay, so now you have your answer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, I'm
Yeah.
still confused, but go ahead.
Still
So this
confused?
is
No,
the
I'm
parking
being-
lot, right?
Madam Clerk is okay,
Oh,
I'm
there's
easily
the current
confused,
Oh, okay.
you've done.
Oh, okay. Counselor Ackland,
I'm actually brought in, that's the one. No questions?
okay. And I don't have any questions either, and that I agree with not supporting it, not as she's recommended, I don't see. And so down the road. We don't know what will bring, we haven't got our strategic plan, haven't got changes, so.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, did we hear from the proponent as to why, was there a reason for that?
Apparently, he had brought it back in early 2022 to council at the time.
Okay.
And there was, I don't believe any decision made at that time.
But in your correspondence with them, they have not said their purpose, okay, thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that administration report AD 025-26. Request to sever a portion of lands from township property be received. And that council direct staff to retain the township owned lands in their current configuration. And that the applicant be advised that the township will not be proceeding with requested lot addition.
any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're at administrative report AD 026-26. Request for direction, potential stop up, close and sale of portion of unopened / unmaintained road allowance at the end of the 10th line road, Wolf Island.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff have been approached, all of the abutting landowners. And I'll just, again, have, everybody clerk bring up the, so the portion of property that's highlighted right now is, vacant. And a portion of the unopened road allowance goes through that one, if you go down to the next one. That's on the other side, butts up to the vacant piece of property, and if you go down to the next slide. It will show, so that whole line, kind of diagonal line going up through. If you can kind of just highlight all of that there, that is all of the unopened road allowance at the end of the 10th line road on Wolf Island. So staff brought this report before council today to seek direction if they wish to stop up, close and sell that portion of the unopened road allowance that runs through the two abutting properties to the landowners. Sorry, if council has any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski.
No, this 10th extension is already blocked, there's no road there at this point, just growth that's going over and. It's not usable anymore.
Oh, no, if you pull that map back up soon. So as you can see on the corner there, that's the forced road that goes up and carries on through to private lanes up at the other end of, or at the end of 10th line. So back in the day when the unopened road allowances were created, it took it out into the water.
Okay, great.
Okay, Councillor Holton.
No, this is housekeeping. There's a lot of places that will come up over the years in the island where the road is not where it's supposed to be. As you can see, we own a new portion of road, so we took somebody's land to make that 10th line continue. The roads of Wolf Island were made with an army grid set on top of the map, so they just run wherever. As far as I've talked to both the landowners, they didn't know this existed. They thought they owned, they thought they were paying property taxes on us. There's an outbuilding pretty much on it. I think this is a no-brainer. We need to stop up and close and let these people have clear title to the land.
Councillor Saunders.
No, thank you, member.
Councillor Ackley.
No comment.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to point out, I did mention it in the report that if council declares that portion of the unopened, unmaintained road allowance as surplus lands to the municipality, most likely come August the 21st, the council will be in a lame duck position. So depending on the value of that unopened road allowance, you may not be able to sell it until the new council comes in. So I just want to make everyone aware of that.
Okay. I believe in our official plan, we have in place that we were not to lose any of our unopened road allowances. We could become in danger of being landlocked from a municipal perspective. And again, looking down the road for future development, I don't see the urgency for this to move forward. But that's my opinion on it, and I believe it's supported by our official plan that says, don't give away the access to the water, even if we haven't got it built at this point in time. Councillor Holton.
So the idea of having roads is access to property. This doesn't go anywhere to lead to any property that's undeveloped. If you can see the 10th line road still continues, it's just on a different path. You're gonna find there's a lot of these on the island. This is housekeeping. We need to clean this up.
Madam Mayor, do you wish me to put the motion on the floor?
You can, want to make it recorded,
Recorded vote.
yeah.
Moved by Councillor DeBonke, seconded by Councillor Halton, that administration report number AD-026-26 regarding a request from abutting landowners to stop up, close, and sell a portion of unopened road allowance as outlined on the map attached here too, and that council direct staff as to whether to proceed with declaring the land surplus to the needs of the municipality and conducting the required public meeting. At the request of Madam Mayor, Councillor Ackley, she's requested a recorded vote, sorry.
So in favor of selling it or,
Correct.
yeah, I'm in favor of selling it.
Councillor Bolton,
In favor.
Councillor Chwaliki,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Saunders,
In favor?
Mayor Greenwood Spears, opposed. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrative report number AD-029-26, request to consider a potential lease agreement for use of the wharf, proposed restoration of cross-border ferry service. I'm going ahead. So, want to double check? No, it's okay, I just thought I'd missed. Oh, okay, never mind.
So staff have received a request to consider a potential lease agreement for the use of the wharf. Mr. Coffey, I believe, is in the audience here if council has any questions, as well as Richard Allen is online. Earlier this year, Madam Mayor and Deputy Mayor Saunders met with Mr. Coffey and the resident or the visitors from Cape Vincent. As a result of that meeting, Mr. Coffey has brought forward a proposed lease agreement for the use of the wharf. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions for Mr. Coffey or Mr. Allen, but everything's there before council.
Any questions, Councillor Jablonski?
Do we have any details on the leasing agreement, any kind of idea where that be going? I don't wanna jump into something and find it's detrimental for the township. We'll have to watch your nickels and dimes, and just curious, with any idea of what kind of lease agreement would be involved with, or money's involved?
Through you, Madam Mayor, nothing at this time. I may ask Mr. Coffey to come forward and
Sure.
and certainly nothing would be finalized lease agreement wise without it coming to council to agree on the lease. Go ahead, Mr. Coffey, yeah.
As far as a lease agreement, we're still in the preliminary sort of aspect of putting this together, so my proposal, I guess, is to have a potential agreement to move forward. Right now, I'm working on submitting an application to CBSA. And in order to do that, it would strengthen my case just to have, a working agreement or a possible agreement to move forward. And that's the stage that I'm in now, as far as making that application.
One more question, Mike. The CBSA, looking for a commitment from townships to proceed forward. I think the fact we bought the dock is our commitment. I don't wanna enter a lease agreement until everything is straightened out, like this, the CBSA, no. We bought it, we're gonna support it, but we have to take our steps forward.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, that's my expectation, of course, it's just so, I can present, any questions, that you might wanna ask about what, where I'm planning to take this.
No, thank you.
Okay, but no, I expect this to move slowly, it's just a first step, just to acknowledge my intentions of trying to restore the very business.
Councillor Hope?
Yeah, I think we need to support this. It's a long, tough road to get this ferry going. Ed's trying to get his ducks in a row, so that he can deal with the government, get this border crossing open again. I would suggest that maybe even our staff contact Cape Vincent, see what they're thinking on lease, and maybe we can have similar terms. That's just my suggestion. Good luck, Ed.
Thank you.
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you. We all sitting on the table want this ferry service to be restored. Restored, thank you very much. The potential lease agreement right now, as a council, we haven't had a conversation, I don't think, regarding any financial involvement beyond what Councillor Jablonski has said, purchasing the dock. So I'm a little nervous about sending a message out there that we may be potentially interested in lease agreement. So I'm nervous with that language.
Okay.
If there's some other way that we can, I don't know what Councillor Jablonski said, that we can put forward to you, that you can go to CBSA and say, look, these partners are all on board. And I don't know what that is, so I'm nervous with the potential lease agreement concept. I understand why you want something like that. I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it.
Okay, I understand, I'm looking for, a path forward that, that can make sense for everybody.
Madam Mayor, if I could have a lot of what I thought we were hinging on was waiting for this economic development report to come out of the US.
Mhm.
And we haven't seen that. Is that correct?
Madam Mayor, if I may, sorry, Mr.
That's
Coffey. Richard Allen is online and maybe he'll answer that. I know he's been in communication with the economic development staff at Cape Vincent, so. Richard, are you able to answer that? Sorry.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, the Jefferson County is working with TMS Waterfront, the contractor that's completing the study. The full report will be completed later this month. However, this was the one of the last council meetings. We wanted to get the conversation going with Canada Border Services, as they indicated they were. It would take 4 to 6 months for them to get back to us with any information about whether or not they would be interested in restoring services, and what the requirements from Canada Border Services would be to restore those services in the location. So that's why we've brought this report forward. Ahead of that economic development report, we will be distributing it as soon as we receive it.
Councillor Ackland?
Again, great job. I'm all for this. I believe we need to restore it and we need to help when where we can help and, you know, I don't mean we should buy a boat.
No, I don't think that's gonna come into the equation.
But I believe we should be helping any way we can to restore that link. I'm on for this.
Okay. I think that if we improve the wording in that, so that CDSA knows that the township is willing to consider leasing agreements with whoever is the successful, whoever approaches us to run the ferry service, because at this point in time, I don't know all the players. But we are dealing internationally, and there may be American players, and I don't wanna have it exclusive in that regard, but CDSA needs to know that in good faith, this council purchased that property. And obviously, we're not planning on building a hotel on it, so whoever is the successful person, if the business plan supports it, and that is important. So I think we need to look at the wording of it, and that 11 report saying that the council recognizes the high value that the US Canada International Ferry potentially brings to tourism and economic development. And we are willing to work with the important partners that may come forward to reestablish the ferry service. Something of a general nature. Councillor Holtman.
So the recommendation, and this is all that's being asked, the council directs staff to continue discussions with Edward Coffey regarding the terms, conditions, potential lease of the wharf. This is not committing us to anything. This is just getting the process started so that he can go and say to them, yes, I've talked to the township. We are talking about a lease agreement. That's all it is getting ducks in the road to go to the government. We're not committing to anything other today than some staff time. That's it.
Do you have an agreement already in place on the American side for their dock?
No, this is all preliminary stuff.
This is.
And you know, I'll have hopefully the same discussion with them. Hopefully there could be, as Mike said, a memorandum of understanding, possibly because it's up to the operator to make the application with CBSA, whoever the applicator might be. So this is just my application. So this is, I guess, what I'm asking for.
That's why I look at it as a more generic.
Yeah, it's a generic thing. It's just okay. I talked to council, that's established, and they hopefully didn't turn me down, and I can make this application.
But my point is making it generic enough to go work with whoever comes forward in that, because I have no idea at this point in time, if you're the successful person for it.
Yeah, I'm just making my application, that's up to anybody else, right?
Love to see it stay within Canadian hands and everything else, but I don't know what the business case scenario. And on that note, I have talked to Mayor Golden over on Cape, and he was going to pursue it on Monday today to see whether or not they have a report that can be released at this point in time. But
Sure.
we may get it sooner rather than later. I pressed on him the importance of the timing of this.
Yeah, apparently it's gonna take about 4 to 6 months for CSA to review just my
Yeah.
application, so I just wanna try to get it, you know, and this is an
Yeah.
opportunity to speak to council now.
And I know the report that they had when we had our meeting was 80% baked, as they called it. And we were very impressed by the response of the community for the survey, et cetera. So as soon as we get the report, we'll know a little bit more what the American view is
Yeah.
on this, because just running it from a Canadian perspective doesn't really work well. It has to have that buy-in all the way along.
Of course, and I have every indication from that side that it's gonna be a good working relationship, so
Mm.
hopefully I can, you know, work with both capitals in the same way.
Mhm.
Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that administration report number AD 29 26 regarding a request to consider a potential lease agreement for the use of wharf, proposed restoration of cross-border ferry service be received, and that council direct staff to continue discussions with Edward Coffey regarding the terms and conditions of a potential lease agreement for use of the wharf, subject to legal review, operational review, regulatory approvals, and future council approval, and that no lease agreement be finalized and no financial commitment be made unless and until the matter is brought back to council for consideration and approval.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, now we're at report number FN 008-26-2026, Art of Visiting. And this is in regards to the lodge pole that we had the presentation.
Treasurer Bird will make the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this report follows the delegation from the All Arts Alliance. The request consists of approximately $1,820 of in-kind support. Together with a request for a $2,500 contribution toward the Castlevania dinner. The request for in-kind support is consistent with support council provided in 2025. And the $2,500 contribution was not included in the township's 2026 budget process. Should council wish to support, staff will require direction on the source of funds. And with an available option being the lease reserve. That's what I have. Please answer any questions.
Councillor Jablonski?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Tim, no questions. I know we went through this, nothing came back in the spring looking for budgets. We're doing a budget back last fall, so this comes back now, so no questions.
Hey, Councillor Holton?
No questions, I support the in time you did last year, the 2,500, I don't support.
Hey, Councillor Saunders?
I repeat the Councillor Holton's comments.
Hey, Councillor Ackland?
I'm in the same direction.
So are you, somebody submitting an amendment then for removal of point C? On this recommendation? Cause if not, it looks like potentially you vote down the entire thing time to accept it.
I
Lost our
I
foot.
propose that amendment. That's the part.
Yeah, okay, so Councillor Saunders proposed the amendment of removal of point C
I'll second it.
and seconded by Councillor Holton. Deputy Clerk is hard at work, according to that. Correct? There you go.
Just.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. We have finance report FN 009-26, the treasurer's financial update. And, hello.
Okay, thanks again, Madam Mayor. So since joining the township in late May, I met with senior management and we completed a comprehensive budget review during the month of June. Based on that review and the information available to date, I'm satisfied that the township remains in a sound financial position and I have not identified any significant financial concerns at this time. Most of our major capital projects are currently underway and will be progressing through the construction season. So it's still too early to assess any financial capital budget performance at this point. The only notable pressure that we identified during our review in June was related to insurance costs, which are expected to exceed budget. At this point, the impact appears manageable and administration is taking steps to address it. And before I finish, I'd like to acknowledge the support I've received since moving to the township. I've inherited a knowledgeable and professional finance team and have appreciated the support of the CAO. And I'm also grateful for the assistance provided by the Frontenac County finance staff. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Councilor Jablonski.
Thanks, member. Tim, sorry, maybe I'm not reading fast enough. Why did the insurance go up?
Through you, Madam Mayor, insurance costs apparently are rising across the board for almost all municipalities.
Is it a general cost increase across the board?
Exactly.
That's it.
Okay, Councilor Hilton.
No, thanks, Tim. I hope you're getting your feet under you and, I hope you're liking it. Thank you.
Councilor Saunders.
No questions today.
Councilor Ackley.
Yeah, I have no questions.
What percentage or increase are you looking at for insurance?
It's only about 5%.
Okay, so it's not a huge. Yeah, okay, thank you. All right.
Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Holton and seconded by Councillor Ackley. Finance report number FN 009-26, treasurer's financial update being received.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? There you go.
Good job, good job.
All right, and now we're at Public Works Report, number PW 004-26, Howe Island Traffic Calming.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief Quinn sends his regrets today. He is tied up with some road work construction on Howe Island. This report is as a result of Deputy Mayor Saunders' request for calming measures. So the report is before council. I will try and answer any questions if council has any. If not, certainly I will be pleased to take them back to Chief Quinn to respond.
Okay, Councilor Jablonski.
No question at this time.
Okay, Councilor Hilton.
No questions.
Councilor Saunders.
Thank you, Mayor. I do appreciate the Chief Quinn going through all this. The costs are much higher than what I thought they would have been, so at this point, I think it's just information for me.
Okay, Councilor Ackley.
Yeah, it's an expense I don't think we want.
Okay. One thing caught my mind was the flexible bollards and that, and how they caused quite a bit of havoc when they were put in place coming off of the other ferry, and we have a lot of large equipment over there too, as well as whatever and that. So, no, I agree that traffic calming measures have been relatively effective in Marysville with the electronic sign. I didn't notice people driving in slowly. Sadly, they drive out like a bat out of heck. But, yeah. So any further discussion on this?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, seconded by Councillor Ackley, that Public Works Report number PW 004-26 regarding the traffic calming on Howe Island Drive be received, and that council direct staff to include consideration of traffic calming measures for Howe Island Drive in the 2027 budget, should council wish to proceed.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Now we have action items. The Howe Island Cherry Fox Run, 2026.
Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Ackley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that council received a request from Valerie and Dave Robb, co-organizers on behalf of the Howe Island 2026 Terry Fox Run Committee regarding the event scheduled for Sunday, September 20th, 2026, and that council support the 2026 Howe Island Terry Fox Run.
Hey, any questions? Councilor Jablonski.
No, we do this every year. To change it now would be a sin. No questions.
Councilor Hilton.
No questions, thanks.
Councilor Saunders.
No, thank you.
Councilor Ackley.
No questions, 100%.
Okay.
Support.
All those in favor? Carried. Now we have the second Powwow and Terry Fox run.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councilor Ackley, that council received the request from Valerie and Dave Robb, co-organizers on behalf of the 2026 Powwow Island Terry Fox Run Committee, and that council support waiving the $10 ferry fee on the Powwow Island County Ferry on Saturday, September 20th, 2026, from 8 AM to 10 AM. And that council support the addition of a third ferry worker to the shift in order to avoid the morning and noon shutdowns. And that the request for an additional ferry worker be forwarded to the County of Frontenac as the ferry operator.
Any questions, Councilor Jablonski?
Thank you. A couple questions. There must be a considerable expense added to this request.
Through you, Madam Mayor. I honestly don't know how many people off the island come to the island. I'm not sure if Deputy Mayor or Councilor Ackley would be able to answer that. I know the majority of participants are on the island, so I'm not sure the exact dollar figure for this request.
Thank you.
Councilor Holton?
I will defer to the Highland councillors and hear what they have to say on this. Thank you.
Councilor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The intent was for those people off island who want to come on and take part, we already contributed financially to the run. We didn't think it was appropriate to ask for $10. We, as a committee, thought it would be quite a simple request to the county. The county said it's a budget thing, they can't approve that, therefore it has to be approved here, and then sent to the county, which seems like a lot of stuff to waive a $10 fee. So that's the background. We just think it's the spirit of the Terry Fox Run. It's just a good move to me. So that's my comment.
Okay.
I believe if they don't spend the $10, they can give it to Terry. So I'm in favor.
Okay. I got a question as to how many participants are allowed to be on the ferry at a time? What's the body count? Because if they come over, if they park on the mainland side and they just walk on,
Yeah.
and that, what is the volume in that? Because that ferry only goes so fast when they're trying to get themselves organized, so I'm just wondering.
Probably 40 people, I'm thinking.
It should be posted.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's 49 passengers.
Yes,
Okay.
I thought already the day.
Okay, I'm
I'm just thinking of cars, or per 10 hours, or whatever life jackets and years.
Okay, well, it's good to know that. So the other question is it 8 to 8:15 that they shut down in the morning, like the noon shut down
50.
9:15. But the Terry Fox run starts at 10.
So they're all getting there and shut down
Okay,
time.
okay, and so that's why we need to get on to
Yeah.
noon time. Oh, all right. Okay, so. In other words, the trucks that come over with construction material are not being included in this, these are for participants.
It's just for participants.
Okay. And encourage them. to-
It's on the weekend, isn't it?
It's on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can't.
Okay, just thought I'd make sure that no one's taking unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we have Canada Post priority boarding. This was the usual call that I got, and I'm glad I got a follow-up email on that. In 100 years and that, we never had anybody carrying the mail told that they couldn't get on the ferry because of the lineup.
Because of us. Say that again, sorry.
Because of the line.
Because of the lineup, they did not get priority, even though they had timed things to get to transports on the mainland to interfere with the federal movement of mail. That was a new one to me. And the captain apparently came down to make that point to the person, so it needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councilor Bolton, second by Councilor Jablonski, that the request received from Annette, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this correctly, Trahan,
You got it.
regarding Canada Post priority boarding for Wolf Island and Kingston be received, and that council support the request for Canada Post priority boarding for Wolf Island and Kingston, and direct staff to forward council's position to the appropriate representatives of Canada Post and the Ministry of Transportation.
Okay, any discussion, Councilor Jablonski?
Thank you. I thought it was very place for Canada Post to get priority boarding. To be honest, I'm sort of shocked we're not getting priority, so I support this request.
Councilor Holton?
I'm the same as Mike, I'm shocked, I thought it was in place, so we'll correct that.
Councilor Saunders?
No comment.
Counselor,
I believe they should get on first.
okay,
I'll go up and
those,
check.
all those in favor?
They got my checks.
Carried. Especially when you have to run into other transports for moving that mail, it floored me on that, okay. Glad we're in agreement on that. Now we have Great Highlands support of the township of Stone Mills and town of Bruce Mines concerning the over changes to the FIPA legislation, which is the Freedom of Information.
Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Jablonski, that the request received from Great Highlands regarding support to the township of Stone Mills and to the town of Bruce Mines concerned over changes to the FIPA legislation be received and filed or endorsed.
I'm gonna ask in your discussion that whether you indicate filed or endorsed. Councilor Jablonski.
Thank you, FIPA's hard enough, I can't see it making any tougher, so, endorse.
Okay, Councilor Holton,
Endorse.
Councilor Saunders,
Just fine.
Councilor Ackley.
Yeah, I'm lost on it, so I just file it. I just,
Okay. I'll endorse it in that. I believe it's related to the restriction of information that the government has put in place. That only by subpoena you can get some information from the cabinet now. So then, I believe that's where the gist of it lies, and for small groups and even municipalities that want to get the details. They're not getting that information. With the new legislation, so. All those in favor? For endorsing? Carried. And municipality of Chennai, resolution supporting township of Makar, opposing the proposed changes to the FIPA. So you can go through it again and file or endorse, please indicate. Councilor Jablonski,
Endorse.
Councilor Holton,
Yeah, I don't think endorse both of them, endorse.
okay, Councilor Saunders,
File.
Councilor Ackley,
I'll endorse.
and I'll endorse. Okay,
Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that the request received from the municipality of Schneider regarding support to the township of Makar, I believe, opposing the proposed changes to FIPA be endorsed.
okay, all in favor? Thank you. Carried. And now we're at Township of Siganak. Resolution request for supporting regarding public health spending in rural locations.
Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Jablonski, that the request received from the township of Askinak regarding support to the public health spending and rural locations be received and filed or endorsed.
Councilor Jablonski,
No burner for me, fully endorsed.
Councilor Holton,
Yeah, endorse.
Councilor Saunders,
Endorse.
Endorse.
and Councilor Ackley.
Sorry.
Endorsed, okay. One agreement. Did you call vote on it? We'll call the vote on it. All those in favor of endorsing?
Thank you.
Now. Township or town of Paladin, motion for provincial support, funding and coordinated plans of combat of the tick-borne diseases.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Jablonski, that the request received from the town of Caledon regarding motion for provincial support, funding and coordinated plans to combat tick-borne diseases be received and filed or endorsed.
Okay, Councilor Jablonski, your indication.
Yep, based on past relations with ticks, I fully endorse this.
Okay, Councilor Holton,
Endorse.
Councilor Saunders,
Thank you, Mayor. Point of clarification is the reading letter. Is this for their municipality or is this across Ontario? Mayor, what's,
it's for public health, and that, my understanding that they're targeting.
okay, so it's a provincial wide.
Yes.
Okay, and I endorse it.
Okay,
I
Councilor Ackley. I endorse it as well, and that, and as I sit on the board for public health, and that it has come up for discussion, and we need to do better at advertising that if you are exposed to one of these ticks and get removed, you can go through a pharmacy and that, and get the doxycycline that you need to get started right away as a preventative. So you don't have to wait to get to a doctor, you don't need to tie up a merge, just give it to them, and they have the standard orders and that for. it. Okay, thank you very much. Now, we're
Sorry,
at,
Madam
oh, we
Mayor.
need to call the vote, yes. For endorse.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're at the public question period. Any members of the public, if you'd like to step forward, state your name and your locator address, it needs to be on topic of anything that's on the agenda.
My name is Lauren Lawler, I now live in Kingston. And,
Whereabouts?
175 Park Street, apartment 1206. And I have it on my list. I just have a curious question. And it was the treasurer mentioned that if the fee or the request for $2,500 could come from the, and I know it was opposed, but from the wind reserve fund. And so I was just wondering, is there public knowledge of who has been granted funding from the wind reserve fund?
Well, ask the treasurer.
Madam Mayor, we didn't have any, the wind reserve wasn't, sorry. There was no use of the wind reserve approved in the budget for any community grants.
Right, because I used to organize a lot of events. And I never knew that existed, that we could possibly approach that. So I don't know, I just think there might be some clarification because I would hop all over that.
Sure, you Madam Mayor, if I may.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ms. Lawler. The only reason that staff would, or has suggested, if council approved the request today, that would be the fund that we could draw from. Otherwise, it would be part of the budget, presentations, and it would be part of the community funding,
But I'm just thinking from a community point of view.
Yeah.
And organizing many events that I did. I mean, I think that would be a great source. I just,
But this is it, that's why when we have our budget meetings, we actively encourage everybody that has events coming forward to come forward and make those requests and that, because we set aside a certain amount of money based on that, and sometimes it's used, sometimes it's not. We ended up with 17,500 going towards the nurse practitioner and that
right.
wiped out any of that we had, but.
No, I'm not, but
Yeah.
it's just educational.
Well, this is it, that's part of where we might draw upon.
Yeah.
For support of the community event.
No, I was excited.
And we look forward to the appropriate time frame of applications that don't all get approved. And
When
that,
is the budget?
the next budget will be with the new council.
Yeah,
And they'll start the budget process likely in January, February, because they just get their feet under them in December, so.
okay, I would pass that on because I'm living in Kingston, so I don't.
yes, Madam Mayor. So, while staff will do background work coming November, December,
Yeah,
we will not have any initial, meetings until the new council in the new year in 2027.
yes, no, I know that, but I didn't know I was excited.
Okay, good. Okay, and we have another person who wants to approach.
Lisa Oram, 245 Holden Road. It's just a question related to the ferry. People may have seen that huge banner that was posted on the fence saying, welcome, walk onto the ferry,
Yeah.
free ride. It was taken down very quickly, so now there's one just posted on the tourism center in Kingston that says, ferry this way, walk on, free ride. So I'm just wondering if this council knows the origin of these signs, and obviously it's attracting tourists. Now, the good news, it does say free ferry ride, walk on, walk off. So. Anyway, that's my question. Does anybody know the origin of those signs?
No, I think you gave us a good clue though. Okay, I certainly don't have any direct knowledge of that. And it's interesting that they've taken such an active interest in promoting us and in an economic development perspective. Walk-ons and walk-offs, and that coming in, especially if it's landing in the village, which would be nice on a consistent basis. I don't have a big problem with that, but that banner for several years when we had the large wooden blocking of the construction site, the Ministry of Transportation was quite clear that our businesses could not put anything up to beautify that in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that that thing landed up and then got taken down so quickly didn't come as a surprise to me, but I think he gave us a good clue as to who was behind it, because if it showed up over at the Kingston Tourism, that's very interesting.
Okay, I sent that, a copy of that posted to you and the committee members of the area.
Does any other councillors have any inside information?
No, I'd like to know who put there, like, do we,
I think
doesn't
the
somebody have to
construction,
ask?
well, the construction company owned their chain link fence that it got tied onto or applied to this time. That was
That's our
ours.
case.
So it is an MTO type of thing.
Well, that slogan, hi, this morning, again, that slogan was used by Frontenac County over,
Do you think the county did?
well, I mean, that walk on, walk off, that has been a registered logo.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't see anything, it was sent to me, but
It didn't, as far as I could see from the pictures, I didn't see any claim as to who put it up and that, and the fact that it came down fairly quick and that, I'm not surprised, given the resistance they've had to make anything look beautiful over there, or even have a sign indicate where to drive in. Now, do we have anybody online that has any question? I don't see any hands up. Okay, fine. I think we're at the end for that. Now we're at statements of members. And Councillor Jablonski.
Thank you, just a reminder that this Saturday is the fundraiser, FD fundraiser. Big dance, big party ambush, it's good dinner. I think there's still a few more tickets left for dinner and the band, but gonna be a great night. Really supports our fire department. Gives them that extra spending money for things they need, so please. If you haven't bought a ticket and it's available, come up for a nice dinner, watch Ambush, and we'll have a grand old time.
Okay, and more towards statement by members, anything, Councillor Holtman?
Yes, I just, again, like to congratulate Tim and Glenn. 50 years is amazing, especially in a time when it's hard to get volunteers, and some you get, they burn out very quickly. These guys not only volunteered at the fire department, they were the first ones to any event to help. So congratulations and thank you for your contribution.
Okay. Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, I have a commitment, so I can't make it, but I'll be glad to buy a ticket and then you could donate to one of your family members or something like that. That'll be my going away gift. I want to pick up again on the comments that were made on Friday with this Municipal Services Corporation tour. I know we've taken a position around no expansion until the ferries resolved. I really think we need to rethink that. This process, if it starts to take off, it's gonna take off, and we should get our place in line. The amount of provincial support that was demonstrated on that Friday was remarkable. So I think we need to be careful about not missing the boat on this. So that's my point on that one. That's it.
Hey, Councillor Acton?
I'd like to say, first off, our markets hitting it off on the island, and yesterday we had a great ball game, North versus South, and the North did win again, thanks to my home run. But other than that, it was a fantastic game. I didn't need the defibrillator after the end. But it was good, and I'd like to thank the Feeney family again for hamburgers and hot dogs, and it was just an excellent day, not too hot, not too cold.
Okay. Mine's of a more serious nature. I'm gonna say it's good to put the court case again regarding the illegal communication bylaw 036-2024 behind the township. It is clear that my warnings that this was not a legal bylaw before it was passed was upheld by Justice Kaufman. It has now set a precedence for other mayors to have their roles supported as being clear and distinct in many aspects from councillors. The public knew this intuitively. Now the council has had the use of public funds to defend the decision that they made on a bylaw that was brought forth by the CAO and the clerk. If I had lost the case, which I presented myself to help spare the taxpayers, as I was confident that my position was the correct one to hold, then I would have likely been asked to cover a major part, if not all, of the court costs that the township had taken on to defend the ultra virus or illegal bylaw. Instead, I won, and so my modest cost of $3,000 was awarded by the Justice Kaufman to be paid by the township of Frontenac Islands. However, the larger legal fees are related to the township defense, the Integrity Commissioner's investigation and report, and the lesser fees of reviewing the bylaw prior to passing of it by this council. That bill, the residents deserve to know the full cost of this effort to impede the statutory role and duties of the mayor and CEO of Frontenac Islands. To this end, I'd like to suggest that in an effort of good faith, the sitting councillors and CAO might consider paying the mayor's cost from their own pockets. This bylaw and later the law case did not move forward without the intent of this bylaw being clear to this council and the CAO clerk. The justice ruled in the mayor's favor in a strongly worded decision. In an effort to shed light on the circumstances, further in regards to the legal costs and advice given to this council, of which I was not part of or party to any decision in making in closed session of this council, I will be bringing forth several motions, including one that is specific in asking for full disclosure of the advice and costs of this effort to pass the ultravirus bylaw of 2036-2024. Because of the timelines of the election, I will call for a special meeting of the council to be held on July 20th of 26 to consider these motions at Wolf Island Town Hall. It is my hope that the expense incurred will ultimately be borne by the decision makers and/or that the legal costs that Tony Fleming in his dual roles and what his firm had charged the township of Frontenac Islands be reduced or waived entirely. Democracy has a price. Our soldiers have paid it in service and blood. The politicians must pay in its politics and policies that may be less than popular, but needed for the interest of democracy to be preserved. It's time for transparency in what and why this action occurred and what it cost financially. That's my statement. Now we'll go on to notice of motion. You have a notice of motion, Councilor Devon.
No, I was actually going back to the function, I like to know how much it did actually cost our taxpayers, this whole.
That I'll be bringing the notice of motion forward.
So you'll bring that forward at the next meeting?
No, I'm,
Bring that
you
forward.
have a notice of motion to bring forward.
Oh.
Okay, Councillor Saunders, do you have a motion?
No, thank you.
Councillor Ackley.
I do have a notice motion. At that point, I'd like to make a motion to de-amalgamate from Wolf Island.
Another motion. Okay. All right. I have 3 notices of motion. Whereas Frontenac Islands bylaw 036-2024 has been quashed by Justice Kaufman of the Ontario Superior Court on June 25th, 2026. And that bylaw 036-2024 was declared ultra vires in the justice's decision, which means illegal. And that the mayor, Judy Greenwood Spears, brought forth the legal argument to remove the illegal bylaw. And that the illegal bylaw had been applied to Mayor Greenwood Spears in the Integrity Commissioner report of April 2025. And who is in his role as Frontenac Islands solicitor, had reviewed the bylaw for the township of Frontenac Islands before it was passed and did not prevent or advise that the bylaw was ultra vires, thus allowing a bylaw to be considered by the council that a reasonable person might know that it was outside of the jurisdiction of any council to pass it as it compromised the statutory role of the mayor. Be it resolved that the integrity report regarding Mayor Greenwood Spears breaching the illegal bylaw 036-2024 be stricken from the record as being accepted by the Frontenac Islands Council. My next motion is whereas Frontenac Islands bylaw 036-2024 has been quashed by Justice Hoffman of Ontario Superior Court on June 25th of 2026, and that the bylaw 036-2024 was declared ultra virus by the justice decision, and that Mayor Greenwood Spears brought forth the legal argument to remove the illegal bylaw, and that the illegal bylaw has been reviewed by the solicitor for Frontenac Islands, Tony Fleming, before it was passed, with the intent to ensure that it was within the legal bounds of the council to consider. And who, in his role as Integrity Commissioner for Frontenac Islands, reviewed the complaint filed against the mayor in January of 2025, and who did find the mayor had violated a bylaw that the Council of Frontenac Islands had passed that was outside of their jurisdiction, and did not prevent or advise the Township of Frontenac Islands that the bylaw was ultra virus. And when the bylaw 036-2024 was challenged in court, the same law firm that Tony Fleming worked for was also the law firm that represented the Township of Frontenac Islands. Whereas a reasonable person might perceive that there were multiple areas of potential ethical conflicts through the thrice involvement of the members of the same law firm, be it resolved that Frontenac Islands move to consider the roles of both solicitor for Frontenac Islands as well as Integrity Commissioner role that has been awarded to Tony Fleming. My third is, whereas Frontenac Islands bylaw 036-2024 has been quashed by Justice Kaufman of the Ontario Superior Court on June 25th of 2026, and that the bylaw 036-2024 was declared ultra virus in the justice decision, and that Mayor Judy Greenwood Spears brought forth the legal argument to remove the illegal bylaw, and that the illegal bylaw had been reviewed by the solicitor of Frontenac Islands, Tony Fleming, before it was passed, with the intent to ensure that it was within the legal bounds of the council to consider, and who in his role as Integrity Commissioner for Frontenac Islands reviewed the complaint filed against the mayor in January 2025, and who did find the mayor had violated a bylaw that the Council of Frontenac Islands had passed that was outside of their jurisdiction, and did not prevent or advise Township of Frontenac Islands that the bylaw was ultra virus. And when the bylaw 036-2024 was challenged in court, the same law firm that Tony Fleming worked for, also the law firm that represented the Township of Frontenac Islands, and whereas a reasonable person might perceive that there is multiple areas of potential conflict of interest through the thrice involvement of the members, therefore be it resolved that all related correspondence, communication, and costs associated with the creation and until the quashing of this bylaw 036-2024 be made public and removed from any closed meeting or solicitor-client privilege, as it is the Township of Frontenac Islands that has had to pay the fees and costs, not the individual councillors, and the public has the right to know what advice was given and what costs were incurred in securing and defending the ultra virus bylaw. So you've been given notice of these, and I want a special meeting next Monday here where we can consider them. It's not up for debate, Councillor Holmes.
Well, wouldn't it be pecuniary interest on your part to call a meeting?
We'll find out when we have the meeting.
Well, I personally can't make the 20th, but I made plans on not having any more council meetings. I think that we need to put this to rest. I think you have an issue with our solicitor, as all of us do probably at this point in time. It needs to be taken up there, but I think we've spent enough time and money on this. Let's put it to rest. You won. That's it.
I'm calling a special meeting for July 20th, and I expect any and all to attend. That'll be the third time that I've ever called a special meeting, and twice they've been not attended. If this is the third time, that will be on record as well. You've been given 7 days notice.
I told you right now, I can't propose other times.
You can send regrets.
Same as the last.
Okay, now we're at announcements. Councillor Jablonski, do you have any more announcements?
Nope, just, good.
Okay, Councillor Holden,
No, thank you.
Councillor Saunders,
No, thank you.
Councillor Ackland.
No.
Okay. There is a fundraiser, has been indicated in that for the fire department. It's also on the same day as Transition House Ryanville for men. And Kingston is doing a fundraiser between 6 and 10. And during the daytime, there is a women's festival on St. Lawrence Street here in Marysville. And that will be going on all day till I believe 5 o'clock. So, and it should be a very busy day. I encourage anybody that does want to come over, please do that. Rather than drive, and we'll soon have the family ball tournament on Wolf Island. And that's nice that we had the ball tournament that was accomplished over on Howe Island. The family ball tournament here will again impact our ferry in a severe way, but it's also a great time to have. Okay. Now, we'll move to closed session.
Madam Mayor, before we do, it was brought to my attention that the treasurer's report FN 008, the amendment was voted on, but the main motion was not put, or the amended main motion was not put back on the floor and voted on.
Okay.
So if I may, moved by Councilor Jablonski, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that finance report number FN 008-26, art of visiting 2026 be received. And that council approved the request submitted by Dr. Terry Lynn Brennan on behalf of Lodgepole Arts Alliance for the following in-kind donations and funding. A, the use of the Wolf Island Community Center grounds on the mornings of Monday, October 5th and Thursday, October the 8th, 2026. And B, the use of the Wolf Island Community Hall prior to 9 a.m. on October 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2026. And did they do this one as well? They did
Yeah,
that.
we're good about C.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, now, we need motion to close.
Moved by Councilor Bolton, seconded by Councilor Ackley, that council resolve into closed session pursuant to section 239 of the.
Before you close, if you don't mind, Madam Mayor, I would like to let you know that I handed my letter of resignation to Vanessa. So as of August 1st, I will be stepping down as chief. And I'd like to thank council for all their help and support with all the projects that I did. And I appreciate everything that you did for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry, section 239 of the municipal act to discuss section 2C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, more specifically the Wolf Island ambulance base. And the board of Lawrence Ferry, and section 239C, or sorry, 2392F, advice subject to solicitor client privilege, specifically updates regarding lawsuits.
Okay. All those in favor, moving to close? Carried. We ask the public and staff to leave there. Thank you very much. 12:43. Okay, now where is this letter supposed to land into?
The bylaw for the zoning amendment.
Okay. All right, so we'll do bylaw 026-26, the levy of taxes in the year 2026.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councilor Jablonski, that council rise in closed session pursuant to section 239 of the municipal act. And further that staff carry out instructions received in closed session.
All those in favor? There's. Council resumes now at 1 o'clock. We're at bylaw 026-26, levy taxes for the year of 2026.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I have the motion for all three readings for and final passage for bylaw 26 being the 2026 levy tax bylaw. 27, which is the zoning bylaw amendment, that for the public meeting that we heard this morning. You only have two, and then the final for,
But we have,
the confirmation. bylaw.
but we have an addition to go into the zoning bylaw. So let's do them separate. Right, you passed me a legal letter.
So I've provided a copy of a letter from Dimitri, from the Yules. If council wishes to, read that, in consideration of the, bylaw for the zoning bylaw amendment. We can take a few moments, and if there's any questions or any concerns.
And the reason this letter wasn't brought forward at the public meeting.
If I understand Dimitri correctly, he received it after the publishing of the, agenda on Thursday. He did address the two concerns at the public meeting that he felt were, appropriate or most, indicative of the zoning bylaw. It's not myself. All right. Does council have any concerns with regards to their letter or doing the, 3 readings and final passage of the zoning bylaw?
I think that if we do the first and second reading of the zoning bylaw, we'll be doing a better service. We could do the third reading at the next special meeting. And that way, if we just do the first reading actually of the zoning bylaw, given this letter, it gives the opportunity in that. Because it hasn't been considered, and it wasn't made public to the people, and we're having another meeting in just 1 week. Where second and third reading could be done. But by doing it as first reading, that allows for anybody else that has any concern to speak towards it. Rather than rush this through.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
the time is gone, come and gone for objections to that severance. So that's, we're not publishing this so more people can complain or make it, it's too late for that now. This was one individual, we will take that into consideration, but as far as anybody else from the public, the time has come and gone for comments. On the severance.
right, but this letter was submitted in. With the understanding that this would be part of our package, it didn't become part of the package or part of public knowledge until it was printed in.
He spoke to us, if he spoke of it.
Councillor Hall, and that I'm trying to keep us in legal safety here and that, and it certainly is not a huge delay to break this up into a second meeting and that. But by doing it as a reading of notice and that gives the public the time, if there's any objection, and if not, then it can be dealt with at the next meeting.
So do I have a mover and seconder to do first reading of bylaw 027-2026?
I'll have to move it then. I'll hand the chair over to Deputy Mayor. Move it.
Yeah, so, Madam Clerk, I'm not sure where we are in this process.
Through you, Mr. Chair, so Madam Mayor is making a motion to to only first reading of the zoning bylaw number 027 2026. To allow further consideration based on the comments received today from the.
Madam, sorry, that's your motion?
That is my motion and I'll speak to it
So,
because I
well,
can.
first of all, we need a second to put on the floor. I see no seconder, it's defeat, or not.
It's not on the
It's not on the phone.
Okay.
Now, that's your next.
Okay, so if we end up at a tribunal.
Or you have to.
You can vote.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Ashley, seconded by Councillor Halton, that 3 readings and final passage be granted to bylaws 026 2026, 027 2026, and 028 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Okay, any discussion? Discussion is already made on that particular bylaw. All those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, seconded by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that the regular meeting of council held July 13th, 2026 adjourns.
All those in favor? Carried, the meeting ends at 1:08. Thank you very much.